So we can talk a little bit about how things happen. I have perfectly working appliances. Gas lines were fixed, so that's good. These just needed to be cleaned out, and same thing with the washer and the dryer in the basement, which I don't love because it's 50-50 finished and not, but they're down there and they work. It's me. I am such a clean freak that I would rather leave something completely messed up and then hit it full force. And so lately I've just been doing all of the really heavy lifting, all of the tearing things out, painting, flooring, all of that kind of stuff. And it never was top priority to get my dishes in the cabinet, because I needed my bed to stop standing against the wall and being covered in sawdust. There were so many different things to tend to that were just maximum priority at the same time. Just getting the air clear in here, getting windows opened, getting everything just kind of moved around from place to place each time a project was happening. There are just these patterns that we get into in life where it's like a holding pattern, right? Where you know that you've got to get that thing done. It is a crux. It is a pinnacle of cruxes. This one has been a really big one for me. The fridge here it just smells like chemicals. It smells like somebody cleaned it with chemicals. I feel like I get a weird reaction when I drink something out of it, even if I would rinse off the outside of it, just whatever. And so last night it got completely out of control, where I gave myself food poisoning because I left something on the counter too long because this is not in use. And I mean, it's warming up so much outside while I've lived here before. It's been in freezing temperatures when I was here sleeping on the floor, getting all the bedroom and everything ready. And so now everything's looking really gorgeous. It's getting so functional, but I have left these insanely important things like cleaning out the washer and dryer or the fridge for last. I mean, there are those times in life where you're like, this should have and could have gone better and more smoothly. But honestly, in hindsight, knowing me, knowing what the situation was, what my capabilities were, when supplies arrived, whatever the reasoning was, you just look back and go, that could have been better, but I don't know how I would have done it differently. Even if someone gave me a template for how to do it differently, we each have our own makeup of what we are able to, what assets we have, what we bring to the table for any project. For me, sometimes really big things aren't on the table that maybe should be, like literally, right? It was the fridge. I don't let anything fall off forever. It all gets done at some point. I'm a neat freak. I love organization. I love just knowing where everything is, making it very clear if there is a defect somewhere to address, and really staying on top of things. It's almost like walking on the wild side to have such a chaotic homestead while doing massive projects and stuff. It's definitely me being a bad girl, rebelling against my own self while actually working towards my actual ends of, again, being very neat, because a rehab is that. I love anything that's a big makeover. It's always the extremes, the transformations. That's a big reason I think I love body modification so much. The tattoos and piercings, just these really extreme transformations, whether or not they're exactly healthy for us, given that we have to process any kind of implant, hole in our body, ink, anything like that all the time. I just really love a really big transformation, and this is a really cool landmark in the project because I'm going to have a really important staple of functionality restored. The rest of the home is, again, I can't wait to tour you through it. I have to edit everything in order right now. You're gonna see this in a million years. I just wanted to talk a little bit about just mindsets and how projects evolve and alternative living. I really think that one of the most important things is to not square peg round hole your entire life. If you know that you don't have a natural aptitude for something, or that it's not a formula that registers with you, it just does not compute, and you have your own way of doing things, don't like me with like, I can't even tell you how many years I spent at a 2-year college. Just keep trying to shove yourself into a certain mold when you can actually go light years faster, further, on your own terms, doing things the way that it makes sense to you. Thank you so much for joining me. I love to talk about broad principles with specific examples. I really love that this is my way of doing things every step of the way. I've never felt so on my own path. I've never felt so self-actualized. In my very adult life, this is the most that I've ever just morning to night done exactly what I believed in and thought would be fun. And I just want to preach that to everyone because it truly has brought me so much joy at like such a crazy rate. It's just making me happier all the time. Every day that I spend on this path where I am doing things that make sense to me, even if it's not the right way of doing things, even if it's not, I'm getting somewhere. I'm genuinely getting somewhere. And you know how long you can just flounder, free spin, you can get stuck in things so fucking badly. I really love that I'm moving forward at a tremendous rate at this point, doing exactly what I want to do. And when people talk about doing things that are meant for them, I think that that's so much about just going with what your makeup is, going with what your actual natural talents, gifts, skills, and abilities, as you know they say about the magician card for tarot. You know, what talents, gifts, skills, and abilities are you bringing to the table? And so I'm going to clean out my fridge and have an even healthier diet than I've had for the last 2.5 months that I've been living here, giving you your timestamps. That way when these videos get maybe jumbled in editing and releasing, I'm like, here's the actual timeline. We might jump around, or I'll try to keep it pretty consistent. But whatever way, it's just so nice to have you as company and my new friend in my new city and getting to do all of this fun stuff. Thanks for chatting and chilling with me. I was just reflecting a little bit further on what I was saying upon playback, and I was thinking about the fact that it's not that I'm suddenly living my truth now and that I wasn't doing what I wanted in the past. I always was doing what I believed in. I always kind of lived by my emotions in a really big way. I've worked on that and tempered it. I always figured the best way to live without regrets was to do what you felt was right and what you were compelled to do at any given time. As I got older, I kind of told myself that you can't let emotions rule your life. The more that I would learn about astrology, the more that I would think like, oh, well, I am a very watery person actually, and it's okay if my life is a little bit more run by emotion than someone else's. Why would I spend my entire existence fighting my own makeup? Now, does that mean don't grow and change and be the best version of myself? Of course not. But it means that I have to respect what the world is, what I am, how everything interacts. For a long time, I got really just fully immersed, entrenched, entangled, just enveloped in everyone else's lives around me. I was doing everything on their time, anything that they really wanted done. I liked being like a good henchwoman or a good assistant, and I just became really okay with, for years of my life, just considering myself a supporting character. I have the same values that I think I've always had, but I'm applying them completely differently in my life now. Growing up reading Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and X-Men, I've always believed in such strong bonds of camaraderie and family ties, all that loyalty. In X-Men, when somebody on your team, if they are going berserk and they are using their powers to attack every other teammate, it's like, how do you subdue them without harming them? Always forgive and still be on the same team and fight alongside each other. Just all these really important themes of understanding that not only with great powers there great responsibility, but there's also great potential for destruction. I feel like that's the point of Greek mythology or anything like that, is to just say like, wow, look at how powerful and magical and incredible a world we live in is, or the people that we know are, yet look at how terrible, how twisted and tragic things can end up, right? I just always believed in being there for people no matter what, and I found that years of just trying so hard. I'll let the wind hang out for a moment. It's just passing through. So yeah, I spent like years working really hard to keep my most important relationships in my life. Once everyone that I'd ever loved and cared for and supported had all really pushed me away to like the furthest nether realms, I finally was able to have that permission to let go of things that I had honestly known were like past their expiration date, so to speak. For a long time, I knew that I had been applying everything that I could to those relationships. Now I understand a lot better how to have that balance, that give and take, that back and forth exchange, and not just bleed out. I love when Steve's Love Tarot says when love is not returned, that it turns into despair for the one that keeps giving it. I almost feel like my whole life was training for the level of isolation and transformation and beginning again that I've done over this last period of time, over this short period of time actually, considering the amount of change that's occurred. It's something that I've considered for a long time now, just the role that other people have had in my life, and like I said, I wouldn't change what I've done. As I was saying earlier, in hindsight, it's like I'm still me, so it makes sense to me that I did everything that I did, but now I'm just applying all of those lessons in such a really different way than I ever have before. And it's so cool to not have anyone's expectations, judgments, anything. I mean, every time I've moved states and every time I've started my life in a different area or just started a social scene completely anew or whatever it is, it's always been so much fun to me to carve out my place and do things on my own. This is the maximum level of not having anyone's eyes on me, anyone's opinions on what I'm doing, and also for me to allow me to not care, not care. It's allowing me to let everyone else just live their life. Again, I do things in such extremes. I'm like just overboard level of support where like there's no blood left in me, and then on the other side just like, sayonara, I hope life's treating you great, bon fucking voyage. I love this period of my life so much because I really only was able to keep one person in my life that I've cared about for all this time. That's really cool. It's a really strong, healthy bond that I have with that person, and I'm building new healthy bonds, and that's so fucking fun to just be like, okay, I'm gonna be able to look through my contact list and not just see flaming toxicity. I'm getting back on my holistic regimens after all the construction work, tarot cards. I'm going to get some sun and transfer poetry from my phone to my notebook. I mean, I adore everyone that I've ever adored. Like, they're all the best. It's also, again, that feeling that if you are at a completely different point in your spirituality, your occupation, what you want from life. I don't want to feel like I'm stuck in a suburban routine or that I'm stuck in anything. And I just kept living around and working with people that just kept saying things like, I have to do these things. And I'm like, I don't have to do anything. I get to do whatever I want to. You don't have to live any one way or another. When you're more disentangled from everybody else, you figure that out really fast. Like there's nothing that I have to do for anyone else. If it's not good for me, it's not good for them. Why would it be? Why would harming me be good for them? I'm making sure that I put myself first in a way that I never have before. All this time that I've spent in like Nebraska and Georgia, it was very like 50-50 for whether or not I was doing things for me. So I've considered myself a supporting character of the loved ones in my life for years. It was like, I don't know, maybe like 6 years that I was just getting the word from the captain and moving along. And so I really love that now I am at the helm and I get to make my own mistakes and I get to have my own triumphs. I get to go in my own direction that is unique to me and my actual desires and makeup. That's why this is so different now. There's not a significant other, there's not a parent, there's not a sibling, like there's no one that's going to tell me you should be here, you need to do this, they're going to be disappointed if so-and-so needs, you've got to call back. It's just, baby, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. I have never been so free in my entire life, and that's saying something because, as I said, I have always done exactly what I thought was right. And for a long time, I believed it was right to just support the other people in my life. And I have a lot of reasons for that I won't go into. It's a diatribe itself. I just wanted to emphasize that I've always done what I believed in. I'm just doing it so very differently now. And that's the coolest thing in the fucking world to me. I'm living a 100% different life, and that's something that I appreciate all day, every single day. I appreciate you all day, every day too. There are no checks and balances now. I rule everything. My Whole Foods delivery is gonna be here in just a minute, and I'll get some more greens and awesome things to drink. I think that's part of why it's so fun for me to come on here too. Like, I feel so anonymous. There's no one in my subscribers or whatever. Those aren't friends of mine. Those aren't people that I know from some social media that I don't have. Those aren't family members. There might be a few people that I know, but it's not just populated with cousins and people that I've known forever. All of my subscribers are you. I appreciate you so very much. You're not my coworker. You're not somebody that I met on a walk that I just handed out my information to that thinks they're going to communicate with me. It's just you. You somehow came across this video when my algorithm is majority posted to people looking for. This is really nice to spend this time with you. It feels very intimate knowing that it's just a handful of us and that we've never met, and yet we're getting to know each other so very well. And you say, oh no, I'm only getting to know you. Not true. If you're watching me, I know a good deal about you, don't I? This isn't your most common cup of tea. A special ending for the person that behind the scenes has told me that my videos have 4 different endings. I know. I always have something else that I think could be added.